reason the Chargers won't make a deep playoff run.
Yeah, look, I mentioned Josh Palmer. I thought he was terrific on Sunday Night Football. Quentin Johnston also had a big game, but they still are missing that true difference-making playmaker. I think Ladd McConkey has been phenomenal this year in the slot, but there will be a point in the playoffs, or perhaps beyond, or deep into the playoffs if they get that far, where the absence of a boundary X receiver who can win deep and outside the numbers is going to show up. I think that's going to be the thing that puts this offense over the top next year, building off of course, an incredible season.
Yeah, I actually agree with Mina Kimes, which I don't say often. I'm not going to say that that's what's going to do them in, because I think that's the whole point of this whole segment is essentially like, why will these teams not win in the playoffs? And so I'm not betting against the Chargers, but they are obviously limited. This year was never about them making a deep playoff run, about them, dethroning the Chiefs. Like that's what this season was ever about. And now, they're way ahead of where they're supposed to be, quite frankly. And I think they've made huge strides, and that's why it's like funny to have Justin Herbert not really have these playmakers and this ability to kind of really attack. The fact that people want to still hold his feet to the fire for being unable to win certain games, especially throughout the season, just kind of makes me laugh, honestly. So it's somehow his fault. It just doesn't make sense. And so I'm fascinated to see what the Chargers do in the offseason and through free agency, through the draft and all of that. I think that'll be really, really, really interesting. And I think it's possible then at that point, depending on what they do, that the Chargers will take a massive, massive step forward. And it'll be like, yep, this is the team that Justin Herbert has been waiting for his entire life, literally his entire life. But in terms to try to keep it focused on this season and not look so much in the future, because it is, right? Ladd McConkey, only active player on the Chargers roster with over 500 scrimmage yards this season. It's pretty wild. I think that what they'll be able to do this year, because it was if you really watch that Chargers game, it was like, okay, they had no run game. They had no reliable factor to lean on. The defense was able to contain and step up and play pretty good. But when Harbaugh just essentially cut Herbert loose and was kind of like, bro, I just need you to throw ourselves, to victory. You could see what they were trying to do. Now, again, they were still limited, but you could see it was just like, hey, let's just put this on Herbert. He's going to use his legs a little bit. We're going to try to push the ball down the field. It kind of was a little bit reminiscent, ironically, of what some games have looked like with Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Not saying that Bo Nix is on Justin Herbert's level. It was just kind of like a similar mentality of like, we only got so much going on right now. Our run game is not that great. We only have so many weapons, but like, I just need you to sling it. I just need you to let loose and find a way. And also, again, use your legs. I know you're not Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, but like, I need you to kind of do something here. And it's a tough spot to be in for a quarterback, for a team, but it can obviously also lead to wins. You can get it. So it's going to be, I don't know. There's certain teams, and again, maybe if they can get healthy at the right time in terms of the Chargers, there's certain teams that you think like, okay, I can see them legitimately improving or taking a step forward. I can see the Steelers to continue to take a step forward and improve because that offense and Russ are still continuing to get kind of integrated and comfortable. I could see the Philadelphia Eagles continuing to take a step forward, especially if they can integrate A.J. Brown and Devontae more in the passing game because they've been winning these games, but their passing game hasn't been what they want it to. And so you can see a theoretical, like legitimate step forward. The Packers, they're such this young team that as they're continuing as the season to unfold, like they should be improving just individually. Now, will they collectively? That's the question mark. But you can see the possibility. Even the Chiefs, this is all dependent on how healthy they get. Do they get Hollywood Brown back and stuff like that, right? Then you would see that they would take a step forward. I don't necessarily see the Bills taking a step forward. you would see the Broncos potentially taking a step forward again because Bo Nix is such a young rookie that he is supposed to be continuing to get better and better and better with each game that passes. So it's like, where will the development, what things will start to click for him? Will he be able to take a step forward? And again, these aren't going to be gigantic steps, but still steps nonetheless. And so that's where I'm kind of looking for the Chargers. It's like, where can they continue to take a step forward? I don't think that their defense can improve anymore. Their defense has been awesome. So, and in terms of offense, like, I just don't know if the pieces are just quite there. I don't know what other strings to pull where they could really maximize this offense anymore. Like, to me, it's really going to be like, can the defense hold it down, right? Really hold it down to like 19 or less points, and will the offense go? I think having Harbaugh let Justin Herbert loose a little bit, especially in the second half of that game, I wonder if that opens up the door a little bit. I wonder if that is kind of like, okay, we were really conservative offensively through the beginning of the season, again, mainly because we don't have a choice, and also because like we're going to be a defensive led team, at least this year. We're going to run the ball a lot. We're going to minimize our passing because, again, there's only so much we can do there, and really rely on our defense and clock management and game management. And I wonder if that will start to continue to expand a bit more. I don't know if there's any right or wrong answer, just because, again, like, you're really trying to squeeze as much juice out of what you have right now, and there's just going to be so much juice to squeeze. So the Chargers are in an interesting spot for sure. And I mean, again, the fact that they have a 91% chance to make the playoffs is pretty remarkable, considering I don't know how many people really believed in the Chargers moving forward. So what I find frustrating is when the Chargers lose against, say, the Kansas City Chiefs, I find it frustrating because people will use it as a jumping off point to be like, oh, same old Chargers, or oh, Justin Herbert can't win a big game. And it's like, okay, like, let's settle down, considering what Justin Herbert has been working for. And then the counter, which is obnoxious to me, is always, what does Patrick Mahomes have? And it's like, I don't know, one of the greatest tight ends to ever walk the face of the earth in Travis Kelce, and having Andy Reid, and having Pacheco back now, and again, I believe in Harbaugh, and I think Harbaugh is a top coach in the NFL, but like, Andy Reid has been doing this for decades in the NFL, like, so it's like, he doesn't have to learn who Patrick Mahomes is anymore. Like, Harbaugh and Herbert's relationship is continuing to develop and evolve. So yes, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes will be without a doubt better at winning with less than Herbert and Harbaugh at this point in their respective careers. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. So again, to kind of put that, to kind of use that as a way to downgrade Herbert or Harbaugh and elevate Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, or especially Patrick Mahomes, is like, that always rubs me the wrong way. So I think, yeah, there's so many different matchups that I'm rooting for, and I talked about this in my Broncos video, like the Broncos versus the Chiefs, the Broncos versus the Steelers. And for me, the only real big matchup that I want to see in the playoffs for the Chargers is versus the Chiefs. Like, Chargers versus Broncos doesn't do much for me, I'll be honest. Again, I know it's divisional and all stuff like that, but like, it doesn't move the needle for me. I'm curious. I assume Chargers fans want the Chiefs. Like, that's who they want. They want to knock the Chiefs out and stuff like that. But the Chargers, Bills, I think the Chargers versus the Ravens would be another interesting rematch. Obviously, Hardball. But again, the Chargers versus the Steelers, kind of like a whatever matchup. And the Chargers versus the Texans, definitely a whatever matchup. So in terms of like, kind of, I'm looking more and more at the playoff seeding and where all these teams can be. And it's like, for me, the top matchups would be the Chargers versus the Chiefs and the Broncos versus the Chiefs, just because of the history of those teams, obviously, and kind of them, try to scrape their way back to the top and bring the Chiefs back down. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chargers? What do you think their fatal flaw is? Do you think their lack of a true offensive weapon will come back to haunt them? in the playoffs? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.